أشد.
I assume this is my answer, No point of making it symbolic, and not making it realistic.
Based on Hadith 16, can you or should you ask the pious believers, the awliya, to intercede on your behalf?
The point here, the way I understand it, you should have good belief about everyone, All of them, they are awliya, And if you ask intercession for everyone, this is a good idea.
What does Hasan and Gharib mean?
According to the majority of scholars, it means that this is one way. Gharib is one way of the sound hadith. What I understand, I may be right or wrong, that here at Tirmizi, I subdivide the scholars of hadith to three categories. The first is mujtahid, like Bukhari and Nasa'i in this case. The second one is muqallid, like Imam al-Tirmizi. Imam al-Tirmizi is going to summarize after each hadith who did say, not who, but the said that it is Hasan, the said that it is Sahih, the said that it is Gharib. Gharib, when it's left alone, it means, according to Imam al-Tirmizi, da'if. Here when you say Hasanun Gharib, that means some of the scholars, they did say that this is Hasan, the other they did say that this is weak.
A related question by someone else. Why are we not only focusing on Sahih Ahadith? Why are we even mentioning Ahadith that are Hasan or Hasan Gharib?
Because here, if we focus on the Sahih, which is against the whole consensus, all scholars, they say the sound hadith is going to be accepted for the Islamic rules for halal and haram. When we bypass them, that means we have missed significant portion of the prophetic tradition, which I don't think is a good idea.
Question related to hadith number 35, the Shah, كان سره على نيته سواء. This was the description of Rasulullah ﷺ. Does that mean that we should act as we are inside with people, even if it is something that people dislike, as a way of disciplining ourselves to not be fake?
For sure, everyone should have a privacy. He should have something, in his inside himself, But he should work hard to have the match between his inner and outer as much as he can.
3 different people asked questions about Hadith 26, description of the munafiqun and how they recognize Allah. So one asked, why don't they recognize Him from the first form and only from the second? And how is it that they know that this is their God?
Firstly, I don't think this is the munafiqun. This is the real believer. I don't know how did he get the idea that they are munafiqun. Okay. What was the rest of the question?
That also answers another question. Are these the munafiqun? Why don't they recognize the first form, but they recognize the second form?
I think I explained this, because even in the highest rank of seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we see the surah, we see the shape, we don't see the real Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To have not recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is high possibility because we don't know the exact description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We just know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did tell us about.
In relation to Hadith 27, why does it not continue to the part that says Allah declares war against the one who harms any of his awliya?
This hadith number 21?
27.
Again, I did not get the relation between this and the hadith declare the war against anyone who is against awliya. May you repeat the question?
I think maybe this questioner thinks that man ada li waliyan is
Yes.
the
Yeah.
same.
What's about the attitude?
They're saying, why doesn't it continue to that part? Or maybe there are two different ahadith.
I would like the asker to repeat his question because the question is not clear in my mind.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Please comment more, if possible, on hadith number 35, especially relating to us Muslims today. I feel in our families and homes we try to be aware of Allah and do the right things, purify our souls, but there is such chaos and anxiousness instead of more peace. We, or I, can be harsh and impatient with loved ones and feel pressure on our chests and souls.
Personally, I felt from this question as if that person want to accuse everyone and make himself, as free of this accusation. I would like to have it in the different or opposite attitude. I'm quite sure about myself, I'm not quite sure about the others.
In relation to hadith number 33, you mentioned as-siddiqeen. What are their attributes?
As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصِّدِّقُونَ. Those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messengers. What has been explained by different scholars, they don't wait for reward or anything else.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Many of the hadith address hope or raja. So often when we think of hope, it's for things. What is the hope in the context of these hadith? Is it strictly hope in or for Allah's acceptance, forgiveness, or nearness?
I think we are going to have different ranks, of hope. For the lowest rank, this is my answer, I may be right or wrong. That is going to be according to the deeds. When you have it higher, you may have it for some creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you have it higher, the hope is going to be in the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So alhamdulillah, I think we've finished all the questions that are directly relevant to specific ahadith. Now these are more general questions. Could you please explain a little bit more about zuhd?
The best explanation of zuhd, what has been mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ, to be much more confident in whatever in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hand than your hand. And another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he was asked by a man, how I'm going to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love me and the others love me. He said, abstain this life and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to love you. Abstain whatever in the people's hands and the people that are going to love you.
Someone is asking something relevant to Hadith 30. There's the story of the companion who was late to prayer and got there when the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam rose from ruku' saying, Sami Allahu liman hamidah. And the companion said, Rabbana lakal hamd. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked about it after the prayer and made it a part of the prayer. Did this hadith come at or around the same time?
Firstly, in this shape or this structure, I'm not familiar with this hadith. If the asker tell me that this has been mentioned in the certain book, I highly appreciate. What I know that when the Prophet ﷺ was up his holy head, from ruku', he said, Alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. And he added some word to this, and the Prophet ﷺ did not make the prayer according to it because it has been established before, but the Prophet ﷺ approved what that companion did say. If you have this particular hadith by this structure, please let me know about where can I find it.
What is the significance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaching Adam alayhi salam all the names and then saying فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ?
If you speak speak about this, I'm not going to speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to speak about what do I understand. Being knowledgeable, has nothing to do with seeking repentance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For sure, Sayyidina Adam was given significant knowledge, by these names that they were taught, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this, to best of my knowledge, has nothing to do with seeking repentance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would rather say some of the not accepted people, they are highly knowledgeable, even some of them, they may be knowledgeable in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they are not good practitioners.
Can you give more examples of matching spiritual and physical matters?
Yes, go back and recite Surah Al-Ra'd and try to find for each item mentioned there in Surah Al-Ra'd, to try to see how you are going to understand it physically and how to understand it spiritually. I gave you example about thunder, about the physical explanation of it and the spiritual explanation of it.
Can you please describe some acts to purify the heart?
You have a book called The Purification of the Heart, and this was translated to English. I gave this in some of my talks, To be honest with you now, I don't remember a lot of them. I remember that he mentioned about envy, he mentioned about chauvinism, he mentioned about being proud or whatever. I advise all of you people, especially those who are interested in the purification of the heart, to go and read that particular text which has been translated to English.
Not very clear about this question. It says, could you please recite Bismillah followed immediately by Fatiha as mentioned in Hadith number 6?
If this question or request for me, I'm quite old, and I may not be able to have it, in one breath, for the whole thing, especially in loud voice. I may have it in the privacy, That's why I feel hesitant, to have it done, in front of everyone.
Will any of Gog and Magog or Ya'juj and Ma'juj make it to heaven?
Any of Ya'juj Ma'juj will what?
Make it to heaven, to paradise.
If we speak about the possibility, it is possible, If we speak about an evidence, namely from the Holy Quran or the prophetic statement, I don't remember any of them.
Could the second 40 hadith have been known through Kashf and Karama of the Shaykh al-Akbar?
If I fully understand this, here speak about the Kashf for the ahadith. We have many scholars, including Shaykh al-Akbar, they confirm some ahadith by Kashf, This is controversial issue. It's a matter of belief, it's a matter of confidence, it's a matter of knowing the position of the person. And on the top of all of these matters, it's a matter of meeting with the Prophet ﷺ and be as the Shaykh al-Akbar was described. He's going to tell you about a dream, of 2 or 3 pages, which is quite clear for you. Whereas, when I speak about myself, when I have such a dream, I'm going to miss significant portion of it, and when you ask me about it, after 2 days, I'm going perhaps to forget the whole dream. So it's a matter of experience, it's a matter of taste, Here we are not to judge people, because we are not the judges of these people, You have the day of judgment, and it's a matter of belief, okay? Even if Shaykh al-Akbar or someone else, he confirmed some hadith by Kashf, it's a matter of your belief in that particular shaykh.
A question about Hadith 25 and تصدق بصدقة بيمينه يخفيها من شماله the Quran mentions that open charity and hidden charity are equal. So how do we reconcile that with this hadith?
I'm sorry, I don't remember any verse in the Quran say they are equal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say in tubdu sadaqati فَنِعِمَّا هِوَ إِن تُخْفُوهَا وَتُؤْتُوهَا فُقَرَاءَ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَيُكَفِّرْ عَنْكُمْ سَيِّئَاتِكُم. Here this verse that I remember, if you mean this verse, it does not mention that they are equal, okay? If this is what you meant, what you understand, I'm sorry, I differ with you in this understanding. And we have another hadith, I think it's sound, I'm not quite sure about it, make the difference between the hidden one and the public one like 70 times.
What do you mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets jealous when a man commits adultery?
What do I mean? Doesn't mean anything. Jealousy is well known to everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is much superior than all of the thoughts that we know about jealousy. Okay? Such an action, what I understand from that particular hadith, is really bad.
What is the difference between Ibn Arabi and Nawawi's 40 hadith?
There's significant difference, Ibn Arabi, he chose 40 hadith of a hadith Qudsi. That's mean you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the chain ends by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying something, And Imam al-Nawawi, he chose 40 or 42 hadith which are basic, of different subjects of Islamic sciences.
Are any ahadith Qudsiyya considered mutawatira?
This did not never come to my mind. As a possibility you may have. I'm sorry now, I don't remember any.
Can we expect to see the wajh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if we have lived a life of heedlessness?
If we live the life of what?
Of heedlessness or ghafla.
Okay. What I understand that everyone who is going to enter the heaven is going to see the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I said before, the quality and the frequency of it is going to be different.
How can we ask God to sincerely forgive our past, present, and future mistakes such that we can reach the potential to see the wajh of Allah?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to best of my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, did not put this as a condition. If you are interested in having the forgiveness, of the future sins, you have a letter written by Hafiz ibn Hajar, الخصال مكفرة الذنوب متقدمة متأخرة. This is really, you rarely find any hadith speak about the future. You have some narration they mention about fasting, imanan wa ihtisaban, about qiyam al-layl, tarawih prayer, imanan wa ihtisaban, and about Laylatul Qadr, imanan wa ihtisaban. The strongest hadith ever in this regard, when you fast Arafah, if you are not Hajj or pilgrimage, is going to forgive 1 year before and 1 year after. If you keep doing it every year, that's mean you are going to have in advance, forgiveness for 1 year.
Regarding Hadith 35, how can we protect ourselves from these people who try to deceive through religion?
Again, here I have a problem. Why? Because this question comes as if this person is completely pure and he accuses everyone. Okay, even the people of religion. Okay, the people of religion, they are not angels. They are similar to other people. Some of them they are quite great. The other they are not as such. Rather than accusing the others, try to purify yourself.
It is said that the Prophet ﷺ knows everything. Does that mean he was a doctor or a scientist also?
Regardless of this, for sure this is according to Imam al-Tirmidhi, who narrated this hadith, and he asked Bukhari about it, and the Bukhari said it is authentic, To address such a question that the Prophet know everything, was he a doctor or scientist, means that you want the Prophet to go down, drop down, be like us, like a doctor or like a accountant or whatever, The Prophet ﷺ was much higher than this, He did touch in his life what is important to you. He did not open a clinic, to treat people, but he treated the inner disease of many persons, He resurrected some of the people, and this, for me, is much more important than this question. The Prophet ﷺ, he had this Umar Mubarak. He lived for 63 years. 23 of them, they were after revelation, He was the only person at all who completed the whole task given to him, till the extent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum." Today I have perfected your religion, I completed my favor on you, and I'm pleased with Islam as your religion. To expect from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or to ask the Prophet, be a doctor, be a computer scientist or whatever, I think this is very silly and very low quality of question, because rather than myself, I'm speaking about myself, shape myself up to be in the level of close to the Prophet ﷺ, namely to deal with these sciences, I would like to have the Prophet ﷺ come to my level, and be a doctor or scientist.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi. Is it permissible for a common person to compile their own collection of 40 ahadith to fulfill the benefit of the hadith about whoever collects 40 ahadith? What is the adab of this? And did other figures in our history make their own?
My philosophy, for anyone who wants to bring a new job, you should have something which was not done before. Whenever you duplicate what has been done before, I don't look at it as important one.
Regarding the narrator of Hadith 11, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar, where is he buried?
Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar was buried in Mecca. I think I visited his grave. He was buried, in a cemetery called Maqbarat al-Shuhada. Okay, he spent all of his life in Medina al-Munawwara, but eventually when he performed Hajj in year 73, he passed away in Mecca.
How do we remove getting habituated to reading Quran?
By emptying our heart, from anything, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
In Hadith number 7, when the Hadith says He will not bring me back again as He created me before, is that referred to the Day of Judgment?
No, it means, what I understand is, whenever anyone passes away in this life, it's not going to be brought back, I'm sorry about this, just erase what I have ever said, Yes, in Hadith number 7, speaking about the hereafter, about the resurrection. And this was one of the main arguments against the Prophet ﷺ. وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ. This toward the end of Surah Yasin. They brought to the Prophet ﷺ some very weak and gun born, and they challenged him, to, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the full capacity and full strength, of bringing them back. Yes, general rule, they are going to be brought back in the day of judgment. To deny what Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam or someone else did in this life, I think it's not a good idea.
There's some questions that are off topic.
Yeah, I am here. I am not knowledgeable about everything. I'll try to answer this question if the head of this program permit to do so.
Can you please explain Allahu Nur Samawati wal Ard?
The Prophet ﷺ, he used, when he wake up, overnight, to say, Allahumma lakal hamd, anta qayyumus samawati wal ardin min fi. That means he is the sustenance of everything in the heavens, and on the earth. وَلَكَ الْحَمْدِ أَنْتَ مَلِكُ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرَاضِينَ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. That means you are the king of the heavens and earth and whoever there. وَلَكَ الْحَمْدِ أَنْتَ نُورُ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرَاضِينَ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. You are the illumination, or the light of the heavens and earth. When I speak about Allah, be sure I'm speaking about my understanding. I'm not speaking about the real Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nur, you should have it as broad meaning, okay? Anything which is good is nur, anything which is not good is darkness, okay? Knowledge, ignorance. Presence, vanishing. Being king, being very low in level, and you name it.
Before we take the next question, if anybody did not get an ijaza, you see Ahmed. If there's any person who didn't get an ijaza, raise your hand and Ahmed will come. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, very good. And on the woman's side, if there's anybody, please raise your hand and we'll come to you. So, and for Hadith number 14, for those of us who do not participate in idol worship or believe in Trinity, could we be associated with Allah in any other way? What is the best way to make sure we are not consciously associated with Allah?
This problem happened during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ has significant manifestation. Some of the religious people, they came to him with this great manifestation of his sallallahu. They told him, listen, they told him, even though we are not going to follow you, we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the answer came right away from Allah. قُلْ إِن كُنتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. So I'm sorry to tell you, not sorry, I'm proud to tell you that I don't know any way of achieving whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants without following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then, in our subdivision, for sure, we have Shirk Akbar and we have Shirk Asghar. We have the major and we have the minor. The major, as I told you, about that particular step. The minor, you may be affected by some of these minor things, when I trust someone or something, or have complete belief in someone or something, or have the high expectation that I'm going to be benefited, from this person or that person. When the Prophet ﷺ say, وَعَلَمْ أَنَّ الْأُمَّةَ, be sure that the whole community, if they are going to give you benefit, they will not give you any benefit unless this is meant, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and vice versa. Okay, so here the Prophet ﷺ did teach us, about something to get rid of these minor thoughts that we may have it in our life. He said, Allahumma inni a'udhu an ushrika bika shay'an wa ana a'lam wa astaghfiruka lima la a'lam innaka anta 'allamul ghuyub. And this is, by some scholars, they said you should recite such a dua 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening to be forgiven and protected of the minor association.
Regarding Hadith 24, I read a hadith that said Allah created 100 parts of mercy and reserved 99 parts for Yawm al-Qiyamah. How can Allah create Rahmah if Rahmah is one of His attributes? This is related to Hadith 24 indirectly by another narration that says the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is Nurullah, or created from the Nur of Allah.
This is in 25.
It's Hadith 24.
24.
indirectly related?
Firstly, I don't understand in Hadith number 24 that anything of this was mentioned. Okay. Having the Prophet ﷺ being the illumination or Nurullah doesn't contradict with the mercy of Allah. The mercy of Allah, for sure, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here we should have some open mind, okay? Having the mercy as attribute of Allah doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is prohibited of creating some merciful or some mercy, downstairs. If you agree with this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say وَأَنَّهُ وَأَضْحَكَ وَأَبْكَى. Some of the interpreters, they said, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make someone laugh or cry? By creating some people to make people laugh or cry. Okay? This is for me, I'm not speaking about anyone. It's too silly, firstly to scale myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, to limit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to my soul.
Can you give us a brief overview of the author Ibn Arabi and the context in which he compiled these ahadith al-Qudsiyya?
Sheikh Ibn Arabi was born in the year 560. He passed away in the year 638. Sheikh Ibn Arabi, he has full belief in the shuyukh, and his first sheikh told him, go and stay inside. And one of the specialty and skills of Sheikh Ibn Arabi, that he has the complete concentration. And he stayed there for a period of time. I'm not familiar with it, or I don't know it. Okay? Then he went outside with a lot of information that may sound weird, to our community or the ordinary life that we live. Even his father, when he was about to die, what did he tell him? He said, listen, son, I used to hear from you a lot of things that they sound strange, for me. I don't believe it. I observe most of them nowadays. When he was about to die, okay. This is the significance about Ibn Arabi. He has this fatih from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then after that, he was instructed, go back and seek the adab, seek the etiquette, from the shuyukh that you have in that particular time. My experience, now I'm speaking about my experience. I haven't come through anyone has the high level of speaking like Ibn Arabi. Second point, I feel Ibn Arabi is the most important person for all Muslims, because we have a lot of problems, and all of these problems, they are going to be resolved. Unfortunately, we don't get this from Ibn Arabi. Why? Because some of us call him kafir, the other one call him, no, he's not kafir, he's Muslim, but be aware, of his books and you name it. In my view, he was in very high level. Even those who try to criticize him and call him kafir, they praised him in indirect way. Al-Zahabi, in Mizan al-I'tidal, what did he say? He said, anyone who is going to sit with Ibn Arabi is going to consider him as something not equal to anyone. I don't know, is this praise or criticism? When you live with someone, now I'm going to present myself to you for a few hours, I may have nice shape, I may have nice talk or whatever. For sure my wife is different, completely different story. Going to know many things about me that's not known to everyone. When he said about Ibn Arabi, that anyone who joined him is going to consider him as much superior than the others, for me this is a praise. This is not a condemned statement. Why? Because here you are speaking about istiqamah. And Ibn Arabi is one of the great person, to have istiqamah. I'm going to add on it, something out of my experience and the other experience. Anyone who is going to read for Ibn al-Arabi is going to feel him superior than the others.
MashaAllah, there's still a lot more questions, but I think we'll conclude our program now. Just a couple of announcements. First, we really want to thank you, Sheikh, for coming.
Jazakallah khair.
I know it's hard right now in Syria to leave and to travel and you have to drive to another country and all the planes and the traveling and leaving your family. So we thank you for coming. You have students there that you leave for us, and so we just want to thank you and ask you to make dua for us to conclude.
And you make dua for me.
Inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه وكافئ مزيدا. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. سبحانك يا ربنا لا نحصي ثناء عليك. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا ان هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد الصادق الأمين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم اجعل صلواتك ورحمتك وبركاتك على سيد المرسلين وإمام المتقين وخاتم النبيين سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك إمام الخير وقائد الخير ورسول الرحمة. اللهم ابعثه مقاما محمودا يربطه به الأولون والآخرون وأنزله عندك المقعد المقرب يوم القيامة يا رب العالمين واجزه عنا بما هو أهله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه عبدك ونبيك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه عبدك ونبيك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل. اللهم أصلح أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم فرج الكرب عن أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اجمع على الهدى أمر أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لأمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم ارحم أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم رحمة عامة. اللهم أعز أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم انصر أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اجبر أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم أغث أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم استر نسوة أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم أهلك أعداء أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم يا من لطفت في خلق السماوات والأرض ولطفت بالأجنة في بطون أمهاتها لطف بنا وبسائر المسلمين في قضائك وقدرك لطفا يليق بكرمك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك الثبات في الأمر والعزيمة على الرشد ونسألك لسانا صادقا وقلبا سليما ونسألك من خير ونسألك شكر نعمتك وحسن عبادتك ونسألك من خير ما تعلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما تعلم ونستغفرك لما تعلم ولا نعلم إنك أنت علام الغيوب. اللهم أسمعنا خيرا وأطعنا خيرا ورزقنا الله العافية وأدام علينا وجمع الله قلوبنا على التقوى ووفقنا لما يحبه ويرضاه. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اعطف علينا قلب حبيبك الأعظم سيدنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم ارزقنا زيارته وشفاعته في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ثبت قلوبنا على محبته واستعملنا بسنته ونتوفنا بطلعته وتوفنا على ملته واحشرنا في زمرته ولا تحل بيننا وبين وسطنا بيده الشريفة شربة هنيئة مليئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا يا رب العالمين. واجعلنا من أولى الناس به وأقربهم منه منزلا وانفعنا وبارك لنا في أولياء أمته. رب واغفر اللهم لنا ولوالدينا ولمشايخنا ولله وحقا علينا وسائر المسلمين أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا بجاه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وسلم الفاتحة.
Jazakumullah khairan. If everybody, many hands make work easier. So if everybody can clean up in front of them, take off the tablecloth, maybe fold it.